everyone, welcome back to my channel, and this is the third part of my card making series where I take the Make Special Cards issue 14 magazine kit and make some Christmas cards. So I'm just mounting the backing paper onto some foam, and I'm going to put some washi tape down, and I'm going to use this 2-square ruler to line it up. So that piece of white paper on the back is actually the release paper from the tape, and I use that just to handle the sticky back foam while I work out where I want to place things. And I take a little while to make sure that my tape is straight and the same amount of distance from the top and bottom. I trim off the edges, and then I'm going to put this panel that I've mounted down and remove that sticky back, and then I just trim off the edges, and I realise I've got the card the wrong way around. That topper that says Christmas Wishes was a sticker from WH Smith's a few years ago, and I just mounted that on some cardstock and cut a white border around it. And I'm just deciding on the placement of my little sprigs and the pine cones, and I used the dies that came with the kit to cut those out of various scrap papers, and I stamped and coloured in that little deer with my polychromos pencils. So now I'm just going to make sure that my topper is straight, and I'm going to start adhering those little pine cones and leaves to the card base and fiddle around with the placement for a bit more. I was kind of thinking that it would be nice to have a spray going diagonally across the card, and I'm just working out what colours I want to layer. And I have some of this snowflake ribbon that I cut the snowflakes out of, and I had little bits of scraps where it wasn't a complete snowflake, and I thought they looked like gold berries, so I'm just adding them to my cluster. And I'm going to squeeze some of this Multimatte Medium underneath where the double-sided tape didn't quite keep my elements stuck down, and I'm doing that trick with a bit of paper again to get underneath tricky spots. And I'm mounting this little deer with double-sided tape because all of my sticky rollers have run out. I actually had to go shopping at the weekend and buy some more. So there's my little deer, and that's my card finished. So here's a close-up. You can see the little gold berries there. And now I'm on to the second card. And for this card I'm going to use up that little scrap of paper and the bigger scrap that I'm mounting tape onto now. And before I stick it down, I decide that I want to make my card more yellow, so I'm using the Antique Linen Distress Oxide again to colour the background. And I only colour the bit that is going to be seen because I'm going to cover most of it up with background papers. So I decided to do an L-shaped layout, so I'm going to put the big piece along the bottom, and then I'm just going to trim that because it wasn't quite big enough for my card, and then I'm going to use this piece here as the L, and there I'm just having to think about how I want to stick it down. So I'm adding it to some foam tape because I wanted a little bit of dimension. And I decide I want to use up those little bits of borders that I had left from the other card, and I'm just going to put those on each end with a little bit of gold glitter washi tape above it, just for some added interest. I wanted to bring that gold colour in again because I have it on the topper where I've put the little Diamante gems. or will be putting them. And because I'm going over that glitter tape, I wanted to use a strong adhesive, so I picked the red line tape. You could probably use multi-matte medium. That I knew that I was going to put other things on top, and I just wanted something that would not be wet and move, seeing as it took me so long to line them up. So once I've got that mounted, I think about using this little ribbon scrap, but I decide not to. And it looks wonky to me, so I'm just trying to move it, but it doesn't want to move, so I give up. I'm just going to be honest. Now I'm mounting the topper, and I'm just going to put a little bit of foam on the bit that's not supported by that panel that I've already popped up. And I stick that down. Oh, now I just was hunting for my sticker. I coloured in a Merry Christmas with a Honeycomb Pro Marker because the gold that I had wasn't really a rose gold, so I decided to match the Merry Christmas sticker with the orange colour in the background and make it look a bit more rose gold. And then I decide I want some more of that rose gold colour, so I add in some of the snowflakes that I cut off the ribbon I showed you on the previous card. And I'm just making a visual triangle around the topper. Then I add some of those pink gems to the middle that I used on my previous cards that I got from Hobbycraft, I think. And then I decide that I don't like the white dots on the scallop border because there's not really any real white colour on the background. So I go ahead and cut up those gems and stick them all onto the border where the dots are. And this takes me quite a while. I really struggle with this. I don't think my hands were working very well that day. I pretty much just use my craft knife to cut them and pick them up. And then I use the tip of the blade just to move them. I've also put down some multi-matte medium because some of my gems have been coming off recently. So it also means I get a bit of wiggle room before they actually stick down. Oh, and I think I'm putting just a little bit of stickles there, and that's the diamond stickles. And this is my card finished. So this is number 2. Now I'm on to number 3. I'm inking up the edges again with my Distress Oxide in antique linen. And I'm mounting this. Oh, I found another snail adhesive. Woohoo! I'm mounting this onto a card base. I think this is the 6x6 ones from Hobbycraft that are not quite 6x6. And I'm just using some foam to mount up that snowman topper. And I use the backing paper again to work out where I want placement. And I take the sticker off of the acetate and then kind of stick it halfway hanging off the top of the acetate so that I can use that to place it without actually touching the sticky back. That's a pretty handy trick. You can also do that with wax paper if you have like cardstock stickers that don't have the acetate. So now I'm having a think about where I want to place this ribbon, and I decide I like it there. So I'm just going to stick that down with double-sided tape and trim off the edges. And then I'm going to stick down this bow, and I fiddle with it a little while before I get a glue dot and a bit of multi-matte medium and stick that down. And then I decide that it looks a bit plain, so I'm going to have a rummage in my pretties drawer where all my bling is, and I'm going to have a look for some colours that I like that work with the card. And I'm looking primarily for kind of yellowy orange colours. So I'm using the same rose gold. Oh no, actually, that's a different gold, slightly bigger gems. I think I got those from The Works a really long time ago. I've not seen them since. And I'm just using up some pearls out of my stash. I decided that gold was too much. Just trying different oranges here. And then I go with this burnt orange because I thought the contrast was quite nice. And it kind of picked up the darker element from his hat. So I've added all of those. And that's my third card finished.